Hi, I'm Christine and welcome back to my sewing studio. It has been quite a while since I've done a video, maybe 6-7 months now, I think. I just I don't know, I got into a little rut and just didn't feel like sewing. So now I'm back at it. We just had the holidays. It's January 2024 and I'm ready to start sewing again. Today I will be working on a Simplicity 8302. Now I have actually made all of these except for the shirt, but today we'll be making this jacket. I have made one before in a blue and white check pattern and I really love it. So I have found some fabric. It's another check. It's actually kind of a creamy color with black stripes. I bought this fabric probably back in September and I can't remember what I had originally wanted to use it for, but yesterday I was going through my patterns and I chose this one. I thought I had about 3 yards. I usually end up buying about 3 yards when I buy fabric, but it turns out I was just short of being able to make this full pattern in one fabric. So what I'm doing, under the collar, I will have a solid black. So you'll have the collar and there'll just be a black facing underneath. And then along the sleeves, there is a band at the sleeves. That will be solid black, as well as at the pockets, there's another band right there. That will be solid black. I actually think it'll look really good. It'll give it a couple nice accents. So I am excited about that. I did not want to go back to Joann's and see if I could find this fabric again. So I figured I had some black and I'll be using that for those accents. So for this pattern, you will need pieces 9 through 19 cut out of your pattern pieces. Today I am cutting size 16. I actually normally wear a 12, but I had made a note on here last time I made it to use size 16. Just because, I don't know, you want to wear this with something underneath it, and jackets I always like to have a little bit bigger. So I will be going 2 sizes up from my normal size, which actually is what I normally do anyway. For the interfacing, you need to cut out pieces 11, which is the welt, which is basically the pocket, or the piece that goes over the pocket, which will be black on mine, the collar, the front facing, back facing, and the sleeve band, which is the bottom band that goes along the sleeve. For the notions, you'll need thread, obviously, and 5 1-inch buttons. I also have not figured out what buttons I will be using since I did just decide to do this, so that may be the end of my video where I'll have to run to Joann's and find some buttons. Since these pattern pieces are so long, it was really easy to use my rotary cutter. I also have regular scissors and little scissors to cut the triangles out. Because this is such a linear pattern, I'm not folding the fabric in half to cut 2 pieces. I'm laying each piece separate. So after I cut this piece, which is piece number 13, I'm going to flip it over and cut the next piece. That way I can make sure the grain line runs exactly perpendicular with the grid line. Okay, I've cut out all of my pattern pieces. I've also laid the paper pieces on top, just so it's easier to find them, mainly because I'm using the chalk to make the markings of what pattern is what, and chalk wears out really quickly. So that way I can figure out what I've got. When I need to use these, I can, in order to make the dots, I can grab them quickly, and now we can get started. Okay, step 1 is to stay stitch the neck edge of your back piece number 13. With stay stitching, you're basically stitching a normal stitch length right about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Stay stitches are used to prevent stretching of the material. I actually don't always use stay stitching. I don't know, sometimes it just gets to be a pain in the butt, but with this fabric, I think I'm going to need to. It frays very easily, and I think the stay stitch will help in this. Okay, so after we have stay stitched the neckline, the next step is to sew both pieces of the back number 13 together at the back seam, which is the long straight part of piece number 13. So go ahead and do that. So I've sewn both pieces of the back together. Now, one thing, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. You see the lines are all mixed up. Now, I have done it before where the pattern does not match up perfectly, and I kind of like that. I feel like it does give it some character, but I'm not sure how I'm going to like this. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about it because I don't have enough fabric. Thankfully, I did not spend too much money on this. I did find my receipt, and so hopefully it ends up being okay. If not, it'll be fun making this again. Now, I have serged the seams, the seam allowances with black with black thread, mainly because I only have black and white, and this is a little off-white. So I figured black would look best. I serged it because, like I said before, these seams fray really easily. The last part of step number 1 is to sew the side panel, which is number 10, which is this kind of weird looking one here, to the back number 13. Now, make sure you have right sides to right side. And the thing is, this number 10 is not as long as the 13. So this number 10, the angle here is actually part of the armhole. So you will be matching it up to the 2 triangles you've got cut out down here. So here's 13. You've got the neck edge, the shoulder, and then you've got down here to the arm. Step number 10 starts at this point. So then you go down and it'll match the 2 triangles cut out here. So you can see I've got 13 on this side, and here's number 10. So go ahead again, make sure it's right side to right side, and go ahead and stitch 13 to number 10 on both sides of 13. So I have sewn piece number 10 to 13 along the sides here, right sides to right sides on both sides. I've also serged them. Step number 2 is to stay stitch the neck portion of piece number 9, which is the front piece. So I'm going to go ahead and stay stitch this one right there and this guy right here. Okay, the next part of step 2 is to sew front number 9 to pieces number 13, which is the back at the shoulder seams. So go ahead, as you can see, right side to right side. Here's piece number 9. This is the stay stitching piece that I just did right here, and it is sewn together, or it's pinned right here at the shoulder seams on both sides. Again, make sure right sides to right sides. The little notches, the little triangle, or the little triangles should match up if you have the right piece on the right side. Step number 3 says to apply the interfacing to one of your collar pieces. Now, since I'm going to have a black side and a pattern side to my collar, I wanted to make sure I applied the interfacing to the correct side, and that actually is going to be my pattern side. So the collar with the interfacing will be the part of the collar that is on the top of the coat, like this. So go ahead and put your interfacing on that piece. Make sure it's on the wrong side of your collar piece. The next step is to sew both collar pieces together. So you will want to do right side to right side. And when you sew the collars together, sew all along the sides and along the unnotched edge. So the edge that does not have the triangles in it. So you go ahead and do that. Okay, after you have sewn both pieces of your collar together, again, I've sewn, you can see on the side where there's the white on the black, I've gone the short side, pivoted, long end, short end again. Now you're going to want to clip these corners because we're turning this collar inside out, and you want to try and get that corner as sharp as possible. And the only way to do that is to really clip that corner up to the thread like that. So I've clipped my corners, and now we want to turn the collar right side out. You do want to get these corners as pointy as you can. So actually, even though it's not a very deep collar, I sometimes use a chopstick, stick that in there, and you can really get that corner into a point. So that it really does look like a collar. Once you turn it right side out, go ahead and iron it all the way around. Okay, I have turned my collar right side out and I've pressed it. Now you're going to want to baste the opening closed. Basically a base stitch is the thickest stitch you can get, usually about a 7, and it just makes it easier to pull it out if needed. Basting is just a simple way of keeping things together when you need to. And if you need to pull the basting stitch out later, if it shows up, then it's easy to do. It also says what's recommended is to top stitch your collar a 1/4 inch from the edge. I'm going to do that as well. To me, it just looks like it's more professional when you top stitch. So I will be doing a stitch a 1/4 inch from the edge all along here. I'll get here, pivot it again, and go all the way down and around. So go ahead and do all of that now. Okay, after you've turned your collar right side out, top stitched it if you wanted to, now it's time to pin it to the main garment. This now goes right side to facing side. So here's my collar. The black side is the side that's considered the facing. This top part has the interfacing on it. So the part that has the facing is now on top of the right side of the coat. Basically like this. You're going to want to match the notches up on the top and the little dots. So the collar comes around here, as you can see, but it does not go to the very edge of the coat. So don't worry about that. So go ahead, pin that, and then baste it using a wider stitch. Now we are on step 5, and step 5 has to do with the welt, which I've actually never heard that name before, but it is the little type of fabric that goes over the pocket. You will cut out an interfacing for each welt and then iron it on. So both welts have interfacing for them. Okay, I've applied interfacing to the welt on both of them. The next part of step 5 is folding the welts in half lengthwise, right sides to right sides, like I did here, and then sewing right along both edges of each of them. Okay, after you have sewn the 2 welts together, you turn them right side out. And again, I used my chopstick to stick in there and get the corners nice and pointy. The chopsticks really do help a lot. And then what you're gonna do, I ironed it, and you're going to baste along the edge here. Then once again, they recommend doing a top stitch a 1/4 inch from the edge, which I am going to do on mine. If you do decide to do your top stitch, I actually recommend doing that before you baste it. It just seems to allow the welt to lay flat. And if you baste it, it may bunch up while you're doing your top stitch. Okay, number 7 says to pin the welt onto side panel number 10. Number 10 is this weird looking one here, and it's got a notch halfway down. So make sure the welt is on the outside of number 10. And here's the notch on the welt. So I'm doing the one that's closest, the shorter distance is up. Pin it to the outside of number 10 and then go ahead and baste it on both welts. Okay, step number 8 is applying the pockets. Now the pockets are going onto the front piece number 9 and the side panel number 10 that we just basted the welt to. So you're going to take one pocket, put it right side to right side, and on piece number 9, the front piece, match it up to the notch, and you're going to sew from big circle to big circle. Now I don't have my big circles on here because, like I said before, I don't have a pen anymore, but basically it's just a little bit below, a little bit inside each of the pockets. And then you're going to do the other one on the other side, which is piece number 10. You are actually placing it over the welt that you just basted, right side to right side, and you're sewing from big circle to big circle there as well. It says to stitch in a 1/8 inch seam. So basically get as close to the edge as you can, 1/8 of an inch from the edge if possible. And I know it's going to be pretty thick on this side because of the welt. So it may be a little bit more difficult getting so close to the edge, but basically just as close as you can. Okay, step number 10 says to sew piece number 9 to piece number 10, which is the side panel. You're going to start from the top, run all the way down. When you get to the pocket at the large circle, pivot the needle and sew around the pocket like this, and then all the way down. You want to make sure you keep this area of the pocket open. Okay, I have sewn my 9 to 10 pieces, my front to the side panel, opening at the pocket. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but this welt now is on the wrong side. The welt is supposed to be over here, and then you put your pocket in like this, and it's not. I did this wrong on my last one as well, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna be really careful this time so I get it right, and I did not. So there you go, just another unique thing in my project. The welt is on the wrong place, but whatever. I don't think it's a big deal, and I'm not going to change it. I just don't want to. So according to the instructions, you are to press the welt towards the side panel, which mine is, and so I can't figure out how you would do it since mine's not correct. I am going to now sew the welt onto the side panel so it lays flat, of course, and that is step number 11. Step number 12 says to apply interfacing to sleeve band number 18, which is this one. Mine's in black again. So I've put interfacing on both of my sleeve bands. Now we're going to fold the sleeve band in half, right side to right side, and stitch along the ends right here.